Hello and welcome back to the S.H.E Gallery Show. Thank you for being with us today. You are back with us live on the S.H.E Gallery Show, and today we are here with a very special guest, Greg Drastic. How are you doing?
I'm good.
Good. We're so happy to have you, Greg. And today we will be reintroducing Family Resemblance, the evolution of Chicago-style graffiti. You may remember that we spoke with co-curators Trickster and Pengo, and we just added a co-curator, B-Boy B, who you had a chance to meet also during our COVID Zoom interviews. And today we are back live, which means that you can call us and join in the conversation throughout the segment at 312-738-1060. And please remember that you can always visit us on our website at sharinghisenergygallery.net. Again, that's sharinghisenergygallery.net. If you visit our Now section, you will learn more about, that's an announcement coming up, very exciting. You will learn more about Family Resemblance, the evolution of Chicago-style graffiti. This is in partnership with the Epiphany Center for the Arts. We are introducing B-Boy B, Drastic, East, Fez, Orko, Pango, Sling, Take Two, Trickster, Warp. And this is all first generation. Drastic! Drastic!
How you doing?
The name alone is like 7 words. If you notice, most graffiti writers, except for Trickster, who's also pretty bold, is like usually like four-letter words. But why Drastic? Why 7 letters?
It came out of the source. And I think it was like 6th grade, 7th grade. I needed a tag, you know? And I was coming up with names, and I didn't like them. And in my head, I was thinking, I need something extreme. I think I was tagging like chaos or extreme or something. When you're 6th grade, those are the kind of
6th grade,
those are kind of tags. But so I just went to the thesaurus and looked up extreme and down the list of extremes. And then as I got to the bottom, I saw drastic, and I was like.
That was your name.
I think I heard like that. Oh.
Yeah, silence. It was meant to be.
Yeah.
All right, so here we are today. How many years later? We're talking about early 80s?
That was 85, 84.
Okay, now when you actually got your name, you were a lot younger?
Yeah.
Okay.
6th grade, 7th grade.
All right.
When I started writing.
So some of you may remember when we had Pengo here, Tiso, and other first generation and early generation writers, many of you may remember the stories. Me and Drastic, and we took the bus, and we met over here, and then we went to Lane Tech. It seemed like a lot of these writers went to Lane Tech. Can you talk to us about your side of the story? Your introduction to graffiti?
Yeah, Lane was my introduction. Up until I went to Lane, I felt like a toy.
Okay.
Because I was writing on mailboxes, and sometimes I write on the bus, or it's mostly in the neighborhood, and it was mostly toy stuff, like garages and mailboxes, and I'm within like 3 blocks of my house, that kind of stuff.
When did you first learn about graffiti? What was your introduction to graffiti?
Well, I was watching Welcome Back, Kotter back in the day.
Okay. Talk to us about Welcome Back, Kotter.
Welcome Back, Kotter is like a comedy show that this guy was in. Sylvester, wasn't it Sylvester? No, it was this guy from Saturday Night Fever when he was young.
Okay.
Travolta.
Travolta.
I think it was John Travolta when he was very, very young. He did a sitcom. Was it John? Yeah, pretty sure. But anyway, they would show New York, and they would show the old trains, and then that's the first time I ever saw like the New York graffiti. On the sides of trains. Within a year or so, like Beat Street had come out, Wild Style. Everybody on the West Side was like breakdancing, and I was at that age where I was like, I need to do something. Like, what am I gonna do? I see breakdancers and DJ people, and then somebody like looked at me and goes, "Well, you're an artist, so you're a graffiti writer." And I was like, graffiti writer. And that's when I learned about the 4 elements, And I was like, oh, I fit right in. Oh, I already been practicing. Oh, yeah, I'm a graffiti writer. So then I was like, yeah, I got to get a name.
So they labeled you a graffiti writer before you recognized yourself as a graffiti writer.
Yeah.
All right, that's what's up. So we have, we just noted that he had early influences from New York, as most of graffiti writers did. Early influences from New York, brought here to Chicago, and some may say that graffiti was born in New York, but some may argue that it was actually in Philadelphia. Now, it was born in Philadelphia, however, New York made it what it is today, including influencing here to Chicago and other areas in the state. And here in Chicago, we have these writers who are representing the Chicago style of graffiti. So everybody has their own style. New York has their style, Chicago has their style. And it's very interesting because I was just studying the University of Chicago Grammar Chicago style. So everything has its own style, whether you're writing professionally or you're writing as a graffiti writer. And we're talking about graffiti writers that evolved, that started an entire movement here in Chicago. And now we're gonna go back and this is, Drastic has been involved making graffiti first generation. To this day, great influence. Other people in New York recognized his talent, and they went back and reached out to Greg and said, hey, we need to make you a part of this book. So back in the 90s, there was a book that was published that was completely dedicated to the history of American graffiti, and we will share that with you right now.
Graffiti has been around in all different parts of the world in one form or another, whether it was, you want to consider the cave paintings in Lascaux on down. People, by the time they had walls, they were writing on them. Early in the United States, beginning really in the antebellum years, people began to write on boxcars that would roll from coast to coast. In the hobo years of the Depression, that became even more prominent. There was always gang graffiti dating back to the 30s and 20s in Los Angeles and other parts of California, the Southwest. There was name-based graffiti all over the place. There was Kilroy was here.
1974
They sprung out of a suburb of Boston, oddly enough, and became this kind of global icon for the greatest generation. But when this odd combination of name and fame came together in the late 1960s in both Philadelphia and New York, it really exploded. And what was so magical and so important in the history of American graffiti were the years really 1971 to 1975 in New York. And what happened was a generation of kids, and it's really important to remember that. These were kids. They were almost nobody over the age of 19 involved in this. Developed a whole art form that went from a simple signature, just Joe was here kind of thing, all the way up to a mural that covered the entire side of a subway car. And this was something that had just never been seen in art history before, an entire movement just completely developed by kids.
Graffiti art is bigger than it's ever been. It keeps getting bigger, no matter what rules and laws the cities create.
All right, so we just took a pause there. Now we're talking about first generation in graffiti, and they mentioned something really important. These are just kids. Everybody that was on there was under the age of 19, and it was just kids that developed this huge movement that has continued through this day. How do you feel about that? When you were just a kid, did you ever feel like it was going to turn into what it has turned into before, when you felt like maybe you were just creating vandalism? Or what's it like to see this this grow into the movement that it has?
When I first started, when it was a toy and just tagging and vandalism, you get the excitement from the vandalism part. From going out and doing stuff you're not supposed to in the middle of the night. Mm-hmm. Being in places where you're not supposed to be. We're climbing roofs and running subways. A lot of stuff where you're just not supposed to, you're not supposed to be doing it. So mm-hmm. You got the whole adrenaline thing because you're doing it. There's another level, though, of people who actually honor the art. They're not just out there because they want to write their name over and over again. They actually like the art, mm-hmm. and they're trying to learn about it. That's how I was. I was always an artist. I was an artist before graffiti. So like when I got into graffiti, I would pick up on the stuff that was a little bit more advanced. Mm-hmm. Some of my concepts and things like that were more from a artistic perspective. So I would include that in my letter design and my style making.
Okay.
And then how I felt. At no point did I feel I was vandalizing.
Mm-hmm.
I felt like it was like this outrageous stuff that I was able to do, and it was just like, I mean, it was magical to be able to go and put a mural up in the middle of the night, and then the next day go and take pictures, and there's a full mural up on this, in the middle of the night and on a roof somewhere. Yeah, it was pretty amazing stuff, and I really didn't look at anything else after I got a little bit of that. That's all there was.
All right. So we're tasting a bit of freedom.
Yeah.
Being a rebel, doing what you love, making the city pretty, and not finding that to be anything bad. There's a lot of money that goes into mural projects. Nowadays, people are paying for this stuff, and they're paying a lot of money. And back then, it was these writers that did what they could to make sure that they got the art, to make sure that they got up, knowing that they're probably not going to be looked at, or their piece was not going to be up the next day or the day after. And that's part of the adrenaline, making sure that you get the shots. And one thing to note is that writers write for other writers, not for the other people. It's writers who understand each other and writers that create crews. Now, Greg, how many crews were you involved in as early as Feds? And then we also had you involved in many other crews. How did the crews help you develop yourself as a writer and as an artist?
The first crew I painted with was GMC, so that's Pango, Graffiti Master Crew. That was one of the first large-scale public murals I did. We did it for St. Peter's Church on North Avenue, and we did a huge mural. I believe the first one said Magic, and then we did another one that said Paradise. Basically, the whole parking lot.
Yes. And if you guys go back to our website, you can visit sharinghisenergygallery.net and take a look back at Pango's interview so that you can take a look exactly at that mural that Greg is talking about. Now we're going to go back to the American graffiti history. I just want to share this part right here.
Graffiti. We wanted to highlight all of the entire picture of it. A lot of when we started to make the history of American graffiti, we wanted to highlight all of the entire picture of it. A lot of the books had come out and they had taken a small bite of this. So we decided to basically swing as hard as we could and do what we could. And just that was a tough thing to do, of course, but it involved finding hundreds of people and getting them to get their old shoe boxes down.
Yeah.
Passed away.
We take a pause here because we have Pango, Unknown Writer, Chicago, 1987. Pango is one of the co-curators for one of our exhibitions. You're familiar with this writer?
I'm familiar with Pango. That's not Pango in the picture.
No. But Pango took the photo.
Oh, yeah.
Are you familiar with the writer that's in the photo?
Yeah, I know him.
Do you want to talk to us about him?
Well, he passed away a few years back. The picture's kind of blurry. It looks like it's a Mad Crew. That looks like Okay. He looks like it's from Mad Crew. Who is that?
I don't know. I'm asking you because it says Unknown Writer.
Oh no, that's Mad Crew. I believe that might be like Scam or something.
Okay. So we just wanted to give you just a little taste of like this history here because we have one of our co-curators that has kept up with this history.
You can see Trickster tags in the back and ABC.
Everyone will tell you a different answer to if their goal of writing graffiti is to become famous and go into.
I want to just go back to right here. This is when they reached out to Drastic so that he can be a part of this book.
To highlight all of the entire picture of it. A lot of the books had come out and they had taken a small bite of this. So we decided to basically swing as hard as we could and do what we could.
Okay, so we just went back to that. So they actually went back to locate some of these writers, and Drastic was one of those writers that they located to make sure that he was a part of the American graffiti history. This is all of history throughout all of the United States, not just Chicago. How did that feel?
I thought it was great.
And this isn't your only publication.
Yeah, there's a few. I feel like people have to write that stuff down. I feel like it has to be archived. It has to be like set aside so people know exactly what happened. Word of mouth is great because you know about the events, but the stories kind of mutate over time. You kind of morph. If it's written down, you can get everybody to chime in. If it's factual or not. It's something that you can really see and dissect. If you want to get to the history, it's real good stuff.
Really good stuff, and that is very important to archive, and this is why this exhibition is extra important, and we hope that you come out and support. It is quite an honor to have all of the first-generation graffiti writers that helped develop the Chicago style of graffiti. Please remember that there are other writers that are first-generation, but these are the set of writers that helped develop the style of Chicago graffiti that are still doing it today and that helped inspire other writers around the globe. How did it feel to know that you were an inspiration to other writers around the world?
I think with the internet and just the timing of when I started, I feel like it wasn't anything special. You know what I mean? I feel like maybe I was just supposed to do it. Like I was born to do it, and then. Because I was born to do it, I didn't feel like I was doing anything unusual. I felt like this is just life. This is what we do, seeing everybody, seeing how big it's gotten, I think it's amazing. They open up the market. When I was little, my dream was to become a commercial artist, right? And then while I'm studying commercial art, I became a graffiti writer. And then my style kind of meshed them together, and then the way the world has changed is now people are paying for murals. Now people are ordering murals on their phone.
It's crazy.
Like literally ordering murals on their phone.
And this is why we want to make sure that we pay respect to the first generation graffiti writers that have paved way for all of these street artists that are doing this. And this is why S.H.E Gallery, many of you may remember Pave Way, the first art exhibition. S.H.E Gallery was created to capture these stories, and it evolved into other many things, just the way that graffiti has. As Greg has mentioned, it's something that happens kind of very organically when it's meant to. So we really appreciate that. Now we're going to take a look at some of your work, some of your earlier murals. In 1991, you won first prize for a CTA contest.
Oh, yeah. I'm not sure if that's in here, though.
It is.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I got a little bit of that stuff.
You got a little bit of this stuff, so we're going to take a look here. Oh, are you guys on with us? This is Drastic's website. Why don't you talk to us a little bit about your work? And how this is part of Chicago graffiti style.
Well, the style is because I've always lived in Chicago. I grew up in Chicago. I was born in the Cook County Hospital. The style comes from the things that I came across during my life. The stuff that I was looking at. Right here, I did a butterfly it's a Montessori school, so it was kind of like a conceptual illustration. It's the idea is the light bulb, and then the wings is the symbol for the Montessori school. So that's what that was about.
It's so beautiful, and you can see the graffiti influence and movement, color, style.
And it's all. I use all Montanas for that one. It was all spray paint.
Montana's spray paint, a certain kind of spray paint.
That's how I'm working. Mostly spray paint. I do mix media. I mix it up somewhat, but it's all spray paint. Everything's usually spray paint. I do digital stuff too. After we did that contest, the CTA contest, so UFG got scholarships. So I went to school for digital art. I continued with the commercial art stuff.
What did that feel like? From just what you consider just tagging, I was just a toy, and then suddenly you win this contest, and suddenly this contest gives you an opportunity to further educate yourself and take this more of a career. How did that feel? Or did you ever feel like that would ever be a possibility?
Man, when I was a kid, I think I was oblivious to everything. I was so dense. I was just so hyper. I had so much going on in my head. And I was so I was just into what I was doing. So I didn't really think. You
were just enjoying it.
I was just doing it, And
how do you feel now, looking back?
Now I'm kind of wow. Like, I did that. Look at that.
Look at you, that's me. 1986.
Yeah, that's 86, the Outcast.
Outcast.
Yeah, so that's over there by the church. That's, Pango's in that. Pango's right next to me.
Right here?
Yeah, that's Pango.
I think we shared this photo when we had Pango on.
All right, so you got Pango, Drastic. The Asian cat on the right, that's Scheme.
This scheme right here.
Yeah, he writes Scheme too, but he was from West
Not
Side
our New
Chicago.
York scheme.
Nah, West Side Chicago Scheme. The Puerto Rican dude who's below Scheme,
Right here.
he used to write Zark, and he was GMC crew.
Okay.
Yeah, and he was from New York. If you look at him, he's got the big Cazals. He totally got New York style. Back in the 80s, he had the New York style. The other cat passed away. His name is Taco.
Oh, we heard about Taco.
Taco's a real cool cat. He used to dance and he used to paint with us and hang out. Very, very humble, very chill cat.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
to Taco. Away. And there's you again.
All right.
UFG, first place, Chicago Transit Authority Mural Competition, 1991.
Yeah, so that's, I'm sitting next to Chris, that's Deep, and Antic. And then the guy who got cut off is Quaze.
Oh, yeah.
And then Unique is not, I don't think he was here for the picture. Or I don't know why he's not in that picture. We all posed together at some point. Mm-hmm. So that was the CTA contest where we got the scholarships.
Cool.
That's Red Carpet Rollers. That's some of the first generation graffiti writers got back together and did a mural. So that's me, Pango, Take Two, and Slang. Mm-hmm. And we all pitched in on that mural. That was fun stuff.
And this is Pango also shared this with us, and he just mentioned himself, Drastic, Pango, Slang, and Take Two. You met Take Two, you met Slang, you met Pango, and we will be having Slang back on the air with us. You guys met Slang with Trickster when Trickster was hosting, so we will have them back, first generations graffiti writers, and all of them will be part of this exhibition. Here, I love this one. He's like taking off with hip hop. You want to talk to us a little bit about this one? And here we have, Street Art 1. I know that there's some people that say, street art and graffiti is different, but actually Trickster is the one that taught us that it was early first generation graffiti writers that started calling street art.
Hey.
Mm-hmm. You want to talk to us a little bit about some of these pieces, the movements, the color use?
Okay, so I developed this character. It's called a Blockhead. And he is, he's an, can I curse?
No.
Okay, well, these knuckleheads always obsessing over the creative element. And that's what the Blockhead's about.
That's deep. That is deep.
This is that's a collaboration with PK, Pure, Kenny. Yeah, what does he write? He writes Pickle.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Now we're going to go back and we're going to just look a little bit briefly over some of your work. Now we see some developments here.
Yeah, that's the heart I'm talking about, that the Blockheads are always chasing. And the heart stands for, like, the creative spirit, the thing that inspires you.
And negativity, always trying to knock it down.
Well, everybody wants it,
Yeah, negativity is in people, for sure. Yeah,
so those are kind of like mashups. This is Columbia College, some pattern design, the illustrator, some illustrator stuff.
And just so you guys know, Greg is so humble. The first time I saw his work, I remembered his work way years later. It was at one of Severe's MOS shows. And then I was talking to one of your colleagues about the piece. I was like, I don't know who did this piece, but I love this piece. And I have a picture of the piece, and they showed the piece, and they were like, that's Drastic. And that was my introduction to Drastic.
All right.
And one of the things that stood out was how humble you are. You've worked with so many artists. You've been published in these things. And much like many of the artists that we've worked with, we won't really know until you share the story. So thank you for sharing this story with us.
Definitely, no problem. That's my old logo for Get Drastic. I used to have a website, getdrastic.com, and I had t-shirts and stuff. But I got a new one, Street Art. Yes. StreetArt1.com, so that's going to have some good stuff.
And we'll be sharing that with you as well. Look at this. This is so like old school graffiti.
Yeah.
Why don't you talk to us a little bit about these little b-boy characters?
I mean, that's literally what it was. I was feeling nostalgic, and I was like, let me draw a little b-boy,
B-boy.
So I put a Kango on him. He's got his b-boy stance.
This is the piece I was just talking about.
Oh yeah, that was the live painting at 15th and West.
At Severe Show, that's what I saw. That's the first time I saw you. You were doing live painting, and I thought that was dope.
Word, I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah,
that's a calligraphic style. I like calligraphy a lot sometimes.
And I was like, I don't know who this is, but I like their work. And they were like, oh, that's Drastic. So here we have some more art, and you can visit Greg and visit more of his artwork. It will be found on our website at sharinghisenergygallery.net. We only do have a couple of minutes left. We very much look forward to this exhibition that's coming up with the Epiphany Center for the Arts, and we look forward to many more events. In August, we're going to be on State Street. State Street. S.H.E Gallery will be on State Street for Sundays on State. So that's something new that the city is doing, and we look forward to sharing more information about that. Greg, is there anything you want to leave the audience with about your story? Any advice to the youth or your mark to this movement? How do you feel about being a part of this exhibition?
I'm honored. I appreciate it.
We're honored.
Definitely. It's good stuff. Any chance to spread the word. I really, graffiti artists are egotistical, so we spent like half of our life just writing our names on things. I don't have that. I feel like I did enough of that to whereas it doesn't, I don't really need that kind of recognition anymore. Mm-hmm. But in terms of the art, I feel like it definitely needs to be talked about, and the history needs to be presented in an honest way, because you got street art, you got graffiti art. The graffiti artists develop these skills and the processes that are being used right now by the world. There's so many people who jumped on the mural, bandwagon.
Mm-hmm. And it's really recognized through economics. And I say this because back in the day, it was just Krylon. You didn't have an option. Now you got all kinds of options where you really don't have to have this skill set of using the Krylon can with whatever busted cap you get. Now they've really catered to the movement.
Yeah, it's definitely it's developed, and I think it's going to keep going. And there's too many people that got involved for it to die anytime soon. Literally, it seems like half the world jumped on it. Mm-hmm. So I'm curious where it's going to go. Yeah. More stuff's going to happen. So
that's really exciting, and I think what everybody is reaching through this one element from all of the hip hop elements is freedom. Something that B-Boy B and some other writers that we've had on, they really focus on the five elements. Some people may say 4 elements of hip hop, and they say that graffiti is the one that didn't quite make it, but I think that's changing. And that's up to us as far as how much we want to value it. And it's up to the first generation to really take their mark and say, we did this.
One note. Yes. Graffiti is included in the elements of hip-hop.
Yes.
It actually was its own thing before hip-hop. It was included with hip-hop and kind of packaged together. Graffiti is its own spirit. It has its own energy. Mm-hmm. We can feel it.
Probably all of the elements do, and what connects us is that unity and the love.
Yeah.
Some people will say, there's only 4 elements, there's only 4 legs to a table, but it's actually the table that makes everything. So that's the unity and the love, the knowledge, whatever you want to call it. It's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing. And we are very excited. Thank you again so much for being with us.
No problem. I appreciate it.
And we look forward to seeing you guys again next week. Peace.